one guy who's not out there that I do want to mention
Mhm.
is Marques Sigle, because I think if I had any takeaway from talking to the coaches
Mhm.
on Tuesday, they're torqued. They are torqued
They're
up
jacked up to the
about
tits.
Marques Sigle. Siegel, folks, is a safety. He's a guy that you're like, wait, who do we draft? Because
Enigma.
we watched a ton of Kansas State, watched a ton of Jacob Parrish,
So much.
and didn't see much of Marques Sigle.
We knew who he
And then
was.
right, and you watch him, and you're like, maybe, there's not much. And safety sometimes is like that, right? Where you're just not involved in the plays, and he's playing like almost safety out of the slot, and he's not really playing true single high at all.
It's the hardest
But
position to evaluate during the college scouting
so
period.
so difficult. But they raved about him at the Shrine Bowl, and I went and watched, and he's playing, I shit you not, everywhere. He was playing middle linebacker.
Yep.
They're running up cover 9, and he's getting guys he's never played with organized in really complex ways, really effectively. And so I go, all right, I see what you're talking about. And I talked to Daniel Bullocks, who's been the
Great guy.
safeties coach forever.
The best.
Now he's DBs and passing game specialist, but like Bullocks compared him to Jimmy Ward. Same size, same speed, a little bit faster. Last year, by the way, Bullocks compared Malik Mustafa to Bob Sanders. Pretty sweet. Also compared him to Buda Baker to me.
Both of those, by the way, he's not wrong, but that is high praise to quote
Very
Nicolas
high praise.
Cage.
So I tried to get him to compare him to Antoine Bethea so I could have the Bob Sanders Antoine Bethea thing, because actually Siegel does, in terms of measurements, measure up to Bethea, who I think was by the end of his career probably 20 pounds heavier than when he came out of the draft.
Totally.
Right? He's much wider, which is why the comparison.
He was playing Sam linebacker.
I know. But like, so he compared him to Jimmy Ward, says he can play everywhere. But the thing that stood out was the IQ. He goes, Bullock says the kid's football IQ is through the roof. And I pushed him to expand and sort of talk about it more. What? What's that?
What the fuck does that mean?
I'm like, what do you mean IQ? Like, because
people say that about me, and here we are,
Right. He said, they basically, thought he was smart, but they didn't know just how smart he was. He'd be like, take me through the play. He's saying everybody's responsibility, all 11 on the field, the entire secondary, where the holes are in the defense. Him and Ray Brown, the guy I talked to next, who's the new DB's cornerbacks coach, were really impressed. Now, Brown said, when I, again, asked about the IQ, he starts laughing. He starts literally laughing. He's like off the charts. Off the charts. That dude loves ball, but he knows it. He knows it extremely well, having the versatility of playing 3 different positions and being able to understand the information, not just repeat what you say, but can take it and apply it. Like, the dude's just unbelievably smart.
Well, the difference between listening is not just hearing the words, but understanding why they were spoken, Jake.
That's right.
That's what listening
Indubitably.
really is. Thank you.
But I will say, for a guy where there's some questions and you go, okay.
Yeah, there's nothing on tape that makes you go like, wow.
But he tested extremely well. He looked quick. He's undersized, but not damningly at all. Like, he's fine. His size is okay. And they want him to play free. That's how they view him. He's ideally, and they think he could start this year, and he believes he can start. But like,
I don't think there's a lot of competition there. Like, Richie
there's
Grant
not.
and
There's
Pinnock
no one to compete.
have not impressed as far as I can tell. Though Pinnock has been better.
I will say, if you've got a guy who's that fast and gets it with Mustafa, that could be like, there's a world where he is the most important rookie that they have, because I think Michael will be incredibly good and really important. Alfred Collins and CJ West, which if those guys aren't healthy or if it doesn't work out, there's a chance they're crucial. I again said previously that I think whichever one of those guys plays the most is probably going to have the biggest impact at any rookie. But there's a world where, like, Nick Martin's not actually playing, or he's the Sam, which doesn't really matter. Upton Stout might start at nickel, but there's a world where, like, they actually go with Luter. They do the Luter thing, and they keep Lenore playing both. Like, that's
it might be this Trey Brown guy.
Could be Trey Brown. I think Siegel, again, we haven't seen it because he's nursing an injury, but like, there's a chance, given what they're raving about, that he could be a massively impactful player, especially given the fact that their safeties suck. So
Yeah. There's just not a lot to get over. I think it's encouraging. This is confirmation bias, be blunt about
yeah,
it. But this is where I say safeties are destiny. And here's the other part of that. Uh, Safety is not strictly about the physical traits. Safety is a head first position. I think quarterback is the same thing. And it's the head games that you're able to play. Like if a quarterback can't see it, I don't care how big and strong and fast they are. You're Anthony Richardson. That's fantastic. Where's that going to get you? You're Trey Lance, who wasn't even that athletic. Like, where's that going to get you? You want to
playing
have,
fullback.
yeah, right? Just a glorified H-back. You're Tim Tebow. So when you have all these athletic traits, that's one thing if you are in a C-man, hit man, or carry ball, run ball thing. If you're going into low IQ is incorrect, but a more visceral position or a more uh, carnal form of the game, if you will. Maybe that's the wrong term. Absolutely is.
The carnal
Yeah.
form.
I mean, it blunt. Let's just call it blunt. Uh, Quarterback and safety, you have to
You have to
be
get it. You have to get it.
you have to get it. You have to be able to break it down. You have to be able to understand the layers of the game and be able to make live adjustments as the last line of defense and as the man who holds the ball. And so when I say safeties are destiny, it the best safeties are not the guys who just go and stand in an area and hope the ball doesn't come their way. They're having to read
It's
everything
tough.
and
They
then
see, yeah,
make these decisions that they're freelancing. Yeah, there are rules, but they also don't have any choice if they see stuff that's happening live. They have to be the sharpest guys on defense.
safety. By the way, you agreed. We talked about tight ends. Like safety also has a market inefficiency, but part of that
Massive.
is health, where
Mhm.
safeties can just in an instant be done, be
Totally.
completely cooked.
Yep.
And two, I'm not sure teams actually know what they're looking for at safety.
Correct.
A lot of
By the way,
teams,
the
yeah,
flip side of that is a lot of teams, when they get somebody who's really good at safety, will build the defense around the skill set of the safety. In the
right.
same way that the 49ers have, in many ways, built the defense around the skill set of their once safety, at least in college, now middle linebacker, who, by the way, for Steve Wilkes was, in fact, a safety again in Fred Warner. Like, they built the defense around him and his skill sets. No one knows how to evaluate quarterbacks because no one knows how that between the ear stuff really
Right.
works. No
And
one
there's
knows how
so
to
much
evaluate
schematic
safeties.
stuff and how you build an offense. It's tough.
Ed Reed is not an athletic marvel. Ed Reed is the greatest safety in the modern era because Ed Reed was a football genius.
He was Machiavelli. He was playing mind games and knew what you were going to do. And he knew if he did something, it's like not Tom Glavine,
I know what
Greg
you're going.
Maddox.
Greg Maddox, yeah.
Greg Maddox, right? Where he would be like, I'm going to throw this pitch and he's going to hit a home run. But in a few months, we're going to see him.
Yeah.
And then and then he's going to be looking for that pitch. I'm going to
Yep.
throw him 3 changeups,
Yep.
strike him out. And he does. It's that. It's like knowing what the move is to show something, show your hand a little bit, and
100%.
then take advantage of it.
And the idea that you can, oh, well, that's not the play. Like, it's at a certain point, it gets too basal where it's the quarterback. What are they doing? They're reading where the safeties are. That is the first thing that they're looking at. It's the
That's what
last thing
Peyton
they're looking
Manning
at.
did. He's like, God damn, I'm looking for Ed Reed.
But it's true. And you think about the same
Yeah.
thing with Buda Baker. And yes, Buda Baker is a missile and you can play him anywhere. But like Tyrann Mathieu, you think about the great safeties in this day and age, Derwin James. Like these are the guys who define a defense. They're the
Kyle
ones.
Hamilton, right? Swiss Army pieces.
Totally.
That like understand the game and can play anywhere and might actually not do what they're told
Mhm.
because they see something, which breaks the rules of the defense, which means it breaks the rules that the offenses have for the defense because they're doing something out of what they're supposed to be doing, which is what great players do.
So I'm all in on the 49ers when they are now evaluating safeties. And I think they've learned this the hard way. And perhaps they've always known this lesson, but have never been able to marry uh, the physical abilities that come with youth and the mental acuity that comes with experience, or at least just being really, really smart. They might have, if they, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here, they might have found two players that can physically do whatever you need to do to play safety in the modern NFL, but are smart enough to play the actual game of football, if you know what I mean.
If they both get healthy this season, I think Jair Brown's could have a tough time seeing the field. But
He
again,
hasn't
they
seen
want
the
to play
field
big.
yet.
They want to play big nickel too.
So
So,
they
oh yeah,
say.
wait, he's on PUP, right?
He's not even practicing.
Yeah, no,
So
he's on. I think he's on the PUP list because he's
he's
coming off surgery.
and listen, and here's the thing: Jair Brown is a very sharp dude. I've always enjoyed my conversations. Feels like he's very in on it, but there's a
Right.
difference. Ed Reed is a tough talk, if we're being honest. Like Ed Reed's a tough hang because he's got one thing on his mind, and it's like, how do I fuck up a quarterback? And it's like, Ed, you've been retired for 15 years, and he's like, yeah, but I can get in this guy's mind. Like, he's he's wild.
Right.
It's wild spending. I mean, I spent time with Ed
He's
Reed
like,
in
I
Miami.
went through his trash the night before the game.
Totally.
I found his tax return.
He's like a spy. He's like a career spy. And I'm not saying you have to be that way. I'm not saying that's the level of crazy, but ultimately, just because you are a nice guy and well spoken and seem like you have your life together, which is very hard to do at a young age, no question about that. I don't think either of us can attest to such a claim, and I'm not even close to young anymore. All of that to say, that doesn't translate into speed on the field. I will take speed of neurons clearly manifesting on the field over actual foot speed when we come to safeties.
Yep.
So
That's the thing. You have to have. It's so tough because you have to have the understanding of what you actually need to do, be able to read the game, be able to get other people organized and compensate for when they fuck up because they will fuck up.
mm-hmm.
You have to be able to do that. And then you have to trigger. And that's the thing that Malik Mustafa did last year, where did he absolutely whiff at times?
Totally.
Oh, yeah. But he was like, this is the angle I'm taking, and I'm running as hard as I possibly can. And I'm not going to think, oh, is there a better angle? He's like, I'm shooting my gap. I'm launching at this player.
Yep.
And like that level of decisiveness is crucial.
And we never saw it from Jair Brown. Literally, the only time that I think we've seen that from Jair Brown was his first game. Where
he had a nice play in like the preseason or something last year, and then I didn't see it again.
Yeah. So
I listen, we love Jair Brown as a dude, but
great dude.
Just has not put it on tape.
And it's gotten worse. It's gotten progressively worse, which is the real concern. It'd be one thing if there's an injury or if it was up and down, because like, listen, it's tough. It's tough to be a safety, a young safety. Like you're going to get a lot of deference from us based on how difficult that position is and all the responsibilities and just the mind games that go on. Like it's pretty fucking tough to be a safety in a league where like the 24th best coach is still an offensive mastermind. Like it's tough, but it's just it's straight down, and I just see no reason to believe that it's going to start going up again. Whereas, and I'm not telling you that Seagull's the answer. I don't know. There's no evidence that he's the answer, but it is very encouraging that the Niners are prioritizing football IQ when we're talking about the safety position. Are there other safeties that I would have preferred them to get? Absolutely. But all of those safeties also, as far as we could tell, had that as a main aspect of their game, save for maybe Mukuba, who only has hate in his heart and death in his mind.
Beautiful thing.
He's incredible. He's incredible.